Shalom, giving all praise to Yahweh Bashem Al Shai Bashem Rakakwadash. Shalom to the 144,000 and the rest of you elect out there. Shalom to you all. And I'm going to entitle this video, "These Shall Hate the Whore and Burn Her with Fire." These shall hate the whore and burn her with fire. This is from Revelation 17 and 16. Which I'll read the whole verse, and then I will come up about to the 12th verse. I'm going to tell you what that means, if you don't know. And the 10 horns, which represent the EU nations. Now, if you go to other translations, if you go to the BBE, Bible in Basic English, it mentions the horn. Matter of fact, I'll go to that in a minute so I can get it. I read it, but I want to read it correctly. And the 10 horns which thou sawest upon the beast, these shall hate the whore. Now, if the 10 horns ultimately hates the whore, the NATO nations will hate the whore also, because you have NATO nations and EU nations. You have some of these NATO nations that are part of the EU, and some of them are just part of the EU. Some of them are part of the NATO and EU. So they work together. That beast, it's one beast. But you have the NATO nations, and which represent, they could represent the heads, of course. And you have the EU nations, which are the 10 horns, which now there's about 30 of them. But it's based upon 10. We did videos on that. Now, you have this situation with the Ukraine wanting to, for a couple of years back, wanting to join the EU. Was it? No, I'm sorry, NATO. NATO. EU, NATO is the same thing, you know? It also goes into the toes in Daniel chapter 2. So it's talking about the EU nations and the NATO nations. Ukraine wanted to join the NATO nations. They didn't allow them to join. They refused to allow Ukraine to join the NATO nations. Why is that? Because the minute that they join NATO, NATO would have to declare war on Russia, and that's the Third World War. Even Biden said that when he first came into office with that whole situation. He said, what about us involving ourselves in a war? And he said, no, because that would be World War III. And he was right. So let me just read this again. It says, and the 10 horns which thou sawest upon the beast, which John saw. And John didn't know what was going on. He actually saw beasts. He actually saw, when he saw the people receiving the mark, he actually saw a doctor, somebody with a white coat in a doctor's office, and had somebody sitting down actually getting the chip put in him, having what they call a hypodermic needle, which is the delivery system to put the chip in them. He actually saw it. He didn't know what that was talking about, but he wrote it down. Now, when he saw the beast, he actually saw a beast. Daniel actually saw a beast, which represents. So he saw symbolic things. When you go to Revelation chapter 6, he saw a red horse, a white horse, a black horse, and so forth. There was other times where he actually saw the vision. He actually saw the people fighting in the wars. That's in Revelation 9. And he didn't understand any of it. He saw the woman sit upon a scarlet-colored beast, and he admired the woman. You know, he had she was looking very. You see a woman that's dressed a certain way, you get, you get riled up, if you know what I mean. So he saw the beauty. He got taken by the beauty and the sexiness, let's say. Inside joke. And the angel kind of got mad at him, like, what you looking at her like that for? Fuck this bitch. He didn't know that was America. So it says, if you're asking a question, are we living in a time of revelation? You goddamn right we're living in a time of revelation. It says, and the 10 horns which thou sawest upon the beast. The 10 horns represent the EU nations, the European Union, and the EU was brought together as a European Economic Union, which was first called the EEC, the European Economic Community, I think it was. And I remember when that first came out. It was the EEC. And I believe it was something else, and then it eventually became, and economic was a part of the acronym because they came together for economical purposes. But now it's just the EU, the European Union, certain major European nations coming together as one. NATO attacks other nations if that nation comes against any of the NATO nations. Well, NATO wasn't put together for that purpose. NATO was put together for the sole purpose. It was after it was after World War II. NATO was put together. What was that? NATO was put together officially put together in 49. I'm sorry, 49. It was put together in 49, officially. And the EU was put together in 57, 58, officially. EU came after, almost 10 years after the forming of the NATO nations. NATO nations were pulled together in case they were attacked by Russia, because Russia is a mighty military hold, a strong nation. So they said, look, if Russia decides to attack Poland, Poland's done. So they can attack us one by one. So let's make a union. And America was a part of the union. Canada was a part of the union. Let's say Russia shoots missiles on Canada. America has to get involved, and the other NATO nations have to get involved, which some of them are EU nations. That's why when you read Revelation, it speaks about the beast having 7 heads, which represent NATO, and there's more than 7 NATO nations. I'll look that up in a minute, or not. Somebody could look it up for me. So really, when you speak about the EU, you got to in the same breath, you got to mention NATO. When you speak about NATO nations, you got to in the same breath, you got to mention the EU. Great Britain was originally part of the EU and the NATO. As of a couple of years back, and it was all on the news, it was building up, and eventually they completely broke off from EU for economic reasons, because that's where you go into the partly weak and partly strong, partly clay and partly iron, Daniel 2. Which scholars don't understand. If you go to the Bible Hub and you put in Daniel 2, around about the first verse 40, verse 39, or verses down, they'll say it's that was talking about back then. It has nothing to do with now. They don't understand. And these same 10 horns are the toes or the feet of it in Daniel 2. And these scholars don't understand. Christians don't understand prophecy. These Christian scholars don't understand prophecy. They don't understand Revelation. They don't understand any of the prophetic books. So you can beat their asses with them prophecies. And Bush, Trump is a major. Trump, he's doing okay. He's you know what he's doing that's great. He's bringing them nations together. He's taking sides. First of all, if you're going to take a side, you take the side of Ukraine, because kind of Ukraine is kind of wants to be, if any side you're going to take, you're not going to take Russia. He said, look, I'm with Russia, I'm with Putin. We're going to get together, and Ukraine ain't invited. So he's making a stance. He's saying, F the Ukraine. I'm in the interest of Putin. And then he said he blamed it on Ukraine. He said Ukraine started the war and not too many words. Which they didn't. It was an invasion from Russia. So Russia would be considered the bad guys. So Trump took whose side? The side of the bad guys. And like I said some minutes ago, the only reason why Ukraine is not signed on to the EU nations, or the NATO nations, let's say, because they can put an application for the EU too, be under that money system, is because that would be World War III. But there's going to be World War III anyway. And Trump is the man to do it. Keep doing shit without thinking, Trump. I like that. Keep being a fool. Fools rush in. You think you can do no wrong, and you really think that God. This guy said that. This nigga said, God chose me, and he's right. He's 100% right. He's 100% right. God did choose you. What did he? But the question is, what did he choose you for? He chose you to stir up these nations to get this war hot and popping. So this is beautiful. This is beautiful. This is why if you go to Great Millstone, especially myself, I'm always going into the prophecies, man. Anyway, it says, and the 10 horns, which represent the EU. Well, wait a minute. There's no 10. There's more. It's based upon 10. All right. Which thou sawest upon the beast. 10 horns represent the EU nations. The beast represents NATO, North Atlantic Treaty, which is a military alliance. This is an economic alliance, and this is a military alliance. And they work together. These shall hate the whore, and shall make her desolate, empty her, and naked, and shall eat her flesh, and burn her with fire. That's it. That's that missiles, right? So now you know what I'm going to do? Let me go to the 12th verse. I'm going to read it in the 12th verse, and then I'm going to probably read it either in the NLT or the BBE, or both of them. It says, and the 10 horns which thou sawest are 10 kings, which now there are like 30 of them. All you got to do is do a Google. How many nations are part of the EU alliance, which have received no kingdom as yet, but received power as kings went out with the beast. The beast was already in power. Remember, the beast officially became a group, let's say, in 1949. See, they become a group, but they got to make it official. And there was a celebration for 50 years of NATO at the UN, and we were speaking in that time, that day. It was on 34th Street. It says, these have one mind, right, because NATO and EU nations, they work together, and shall give their power and strength unto the beast. Meaning the EU alliance will join forces with the NATO alliance. Victory for the Lamb. These shall make war with the Lamb. So they're going to try to fight Yahweh Shai and the angels when he comes back. and the Lamb shall overcome them. For he is Kyries of Kyries, and Malach of Malach, King of Kings, and they that are with him are called and chosen and faithful. You got to be called into this thing, and you could fall off, but then you got to be called and chosen and faithful. He that endureth to the end, the same shall be saved, right? And he saith unto me, the waters which thou sawest, where the whore America sitteth, are peoples and multitudes and nations and kings. Now, let me check this off. So we're months away from months away from the chip, and when they make that when that prophecy come to pass, we might be out of here inside of a month. Let me see. Okay, right here. I will show thee the judgment of the great whore that sitteth upon many waters. So the many waters are the people. Remember, this is a great melting pot. And I would say every nation that came up against us in the past, they're here now. So why were they led in the spirit to come to America? So they can receive that judgment. It says, he saith unto me, the waters which thou sawest, where the whore sitteth, where America is, are peoples and multitudes and nations and tongues. And the 10 horns which thou sawest upon the beast, these shall hate the whore, America, and shall make her desolate and naked, and shall eat her flesh, empty her, and burn her with fire. For the Most High had put it in their hearts to fulfill his will. Now, how did he put it in their hearts? He puts a certain thought pattern in Trump's heart. He puts a certain thought pattern in Putin's heart. He puts a certain thought pattern in Zelensky's heart. He deals with these different leaders, and he'll tell, the Most High can tell one leader one thing in his sleep. You know, Job was at 33 and 15, if I'm not mistaken. He says, you're going to do this, that, and the third. He programs him. That's what you're going to do tomorrow. You're going to make a phone call. Then he'll go to another leader and tell him something contrary to that so they can go against each other. This is beautiful, man. You're Esau. You're at your end. Babylon the Great will be utterly burnt with fire. And then you will be rounded up. After the smoke starts to clear, you will be rounded up. All you Edomites and you other nations, you will be rounded up. And we will have spiritual power. We'll be like the X-Men, 10 times. We'll be the X-Men and the Superman and Kal-El and Doom. And we will have ultimate power. And we're just going to we're going to shackle you up, put your ass in slavery, man. And this is months away. This is months away. Did you let that sink in? This is months away. This could be 6 months from now, a year from now, which is 12 months, a year and a half, which is 18 months, 24 months, which is 2 years. We can be in the kingdom in the end of 2025, the beginning of 2026, the beginning of 2027. It's that close. Why can we say that? Because what we're reading right now is 20 years ago, you couldn't really go into this. It's happening right now. For the Most High had put it in their hearts to fulfill his will and to agree and give their kingdom unto the beast until the words of the Most High shall be fulfilled. Right, it's being fulfilled. And the woman, which is America, which thou sawest, is that great city which reigneth over the kings of the earth. So who's the ruler, unofficial ruler of the whole planet Earth? When America catches a cold, everybody else gets the flu. You know what I'm gonna do? Let me do this. Let me go to the BBE, Bible in Basic English. Yeah, I've been listening to Alex Jones. Alex Jones he can't say anything about Trump. Hey, well, he's gonna go down with Trump. Trump is doing a fantastic job. And the 10 horns which you saw, and the beast, right? These will be turned against the evil. See, it doesn't say the beast. It just says the 10 horns. But it says the 10 horns and the beast. These shall be turned against the evil woman, which is Babylon the Great, and will make her waste, empty her, and uncover her, all her corruptions being uncovered, and will take her flesh, and will take her flesh or eat her flesh, and will have her burnt with fire. That fire is the missiles. Because the Most High has put it in their hearts to do his purpose and to be of one mind, giving their kingdom to the beast, till the words of the Most High have effect and are complete. And the woman whom you saw is a great town, which is ruling over the kings of the earth. So they're going to turn against her. And that's going to be during the time the king of Babylon is got to be Trump, unless there's another guy. That's definitely the cruel Lord in Isaiah chapter 19. And we've been going through this. So now let me go from here to go back to the King James. Let me go to James. And I'm going to show you something. Oh, let me do this. European leaders want a say in talks end Russia's war in Ukraine. The U.S. is, let me open this up. Because Trump is calling a meeting with Putin. He's rubbing elbows with Putin. He's buddy-buddy with Putin. And he's pretty much saying, no, you can't come, the president of Ukraine. European leaders want a say in talks to end Russia's war. So these EU nations, NATO nations, they want to say in this. It says European leaders want a say in talks to end Russia's war in Ukraine. The U.S. is brushing them off. See, that's that hate. That's that hate. He's pretty much saying, F y'all, F the NATO. And he's been talking bad about the NATO in the EU. Mainly NATO, that's a military branch, a military union. J.D. Vance, a vice president, he went over to Europe and he addressed them and he was cursing them out. You think they're going to love him for it? Oh, I love him for his honesty. No, they're going to hate the whore, man. This is beautiful. Let me come on back. So you heard it, right? European leaders want a say in talks, so they can't get a say. Zelensky, I want to sit down too. You know, you ain't invited. It's just me and Putin, okay? And you should give, give it up to end Russia's war in Ukraine. The U.S. is brushing them off. So they're gonna hate the whore because of Trump. Okay, let me see what this says. I got to bring this back. Bear with me for a minute. Get my bearings straight. Okay, Trump moves with dazzling speed on his to-do list, but there are warning signs in its first month. That's not what I want. Okay. Let's open this up. Newsweek. Let's see what Newsweek says. We take these news articles and we filter them through the scriptures. Is Trump considering leaving NATO? A, is Trump considering leaving NATO? Unverified, unevidenced claim spread. Another reason for NATO and the EU to drop missiles on us. I don't got to read this. All I want is the headlines. The death of NATO. Actually, it's going to be the death of the woman. And that's a YouTube video, which I'm not going to allow to play.
It takes a rebel to make something beautiful.
The death of NATO. Europe is in crisis over Trump-Putin talks. French 24 English. So this is a closed meeting between just Trump and Putin. They said, the NATO nations are not invited, the EU nations are not invited, Zelensky is not invited. I'll talk to him on another time if I got the time. So he's doing a great job. He's doing a fantastic job, man. Okay, let me look at CNN, the Cartoon News Network. Okay, let me see some investigation underway into Toronto plane crash. U.S. and Russia officials meet on Ukraine. Mexico threat to sue Google. Trump administration absolutely committed to NATO, Secretary General says. That's not true. He's not committed to NATO. You're lying to yourself. Al Jazeera. It is not Trump that betrayed Ukraine. United States President Donald Trump did not stop the war in Ukraine within 24 hours of his inauguration. Because he said, I'll stop. If I was the president, I'd stop the war. And he ain't stopped the war. Basically, he's telling Ukraine, this is the way he's stopping the war. He's telling Ukraine, look, give it up, give it to the Russians. Even though they invaded you, they're not the bad guys, you're the bad guys. As he promised during the election. United States President Donald Trump did not stop the war in Ukraine in 24 hours. Trump team leaves behind an alliance in crisis. Let me open this up. Let me see. I'll do this. European leaders felt certain about one thing after a whirlwind tour by Trump officials. They were entering a new world, or I should have said new world order, but new world, which is new world order, where it was, I don't want that. This is the hatred. They shall hate the whore, right? NATO boss lauds Trump's leadership on Ukraine, tells Europe, get your act together. freezing Ukraine war would allow Russia to threaten NATO. Latvian intelligence warns. Because Russia wants Poland as well, which is a NATO nation. And they're not, if you go to the world map, Europe is not that far from the Levant. The Middle East is the Valley of Decision is south of Europe. So now let's come back over here. Let's go to James. Okay, misuse of riches. Oh, let me do this. Gold in the news. U.S. banks are flying gold worth billions of dollars from London to New York. Here's why. Right. They're buying up gold from around the world. See, real money is gold and silver. The gold rush is largely driven by Trump's tariff threats, which have caused gold prices in London to drop by around $20 since December. Well, gold is a couple dollars shy of 3,000. It's never hit 3,000. It's never hit this high, 2,900 and plus. Gold will hit 3,000 because they know that gold and silver is real money. It says Elon Musk suggests audit of Fort Knox gold reserves. Let's go back 50, 60 years, 50 years or whatever, 50 plus years. Name me one president that even mentioned the word Fort Knox. Is there gold in Fort Knox? You ask certain gold experts, well, I don't know, because it was kept in the dark. It says America's gold missing rumors may set the Doge on gold reserves. Let me open this up. Then we're going to go to James 5 because it mentions riches. Their true riches is not paper money. You got Floyd with that paper money. That ain't real freaking money. Gold and silver is real money. Constitutional money. Okay, let me see. America's gold missing. Rumors may set the Doge. And when you look up the word Doge, it goes back to the Latin, classic Latin, dux or dokes, which means leader. Doge means leader. On gold reserves. Tesla and SpaceX CEO Elon Musk, whose Department of Government Efficiency, Doge, is on he's a leader. He's over Trump. Is on a cost-cutting mission. Might be headed for Fort Knox. Now I got to see that. I'm gonna see if he can get in there. If they allow him in there, if they take him out, whatever. I want to see what's. Keep your eyes on Elon Musk and Fort Knox, which not one president in 50 plus years even mentioned the word Fort Knox. Might be headed for Fort Knox because they say the gold reserves as of 33, we're going to put in a safe place. We're going to put in Fort Knox. I'm sorry. Give me a second here. Let me get my bearings straight. Tesla and SpaceX CEO Elon Musk, whose Department of Government Efficiency, Doge, is on a cost-cutting mission, might be headed for Fort Knox, the ultra-secure facility that stores a large part of America's gold reserves. So they say. U.S. President Donald Trump, MAGA base, is rife with doubts whether Fort Knox really stores as much gold or if any gold, whatever, at all. And if they find gold, is it tungsten, covered, overlaid with gold? It says Fort Knox really stores as much gold as it's supposed to. Muska, whatever, DN Rand Paul, right? Rand Paul, they did it. They asked him, "Is they in Fort Knox?" He said, "They don't tell nobody." Rand Paul, which is the son of Ron Paul, have been drawn into these rumors. They're saying there ain't no gold. There's either little gold in there or no gold at all. So who took the gold? And what was the gold confiscated from the people in the U.S.? It was confiscated by the orders of the FDR, which you're talking about the 40s. It says, it would be great if Elon Musk could take a look inside Fort Knox just to make sure the 4,500 tons of U.S. gold is there. You know what? Damn, tons. So that's 4,500 times 2. 1,000. Right? It says that's a lot of gold. The U.S. gold is there. Last time anyone looked was 50 years ago in 1954. They built Fort Knox for the gold. It was a gold reserve. I believe it was sometime in the 30s. I can always look it up. Matter of fact, that's what I'm gonna do right now. I'm sorry, another time. Maybe in his last anyone looked 50 years ago in 1954. Now they had a couple of cylinders went in there, and they went in there to audit the Fort Knox, and they pulled out a gold bar, and it looked like gold. And the guy said, "Yeah, they got gold in here." You don't know if it was a tungsten overlaid with gold. An ex used zero heads wrote, Musk said, computer's acting funny. Illuminati's fucking with me. How to continue to learn more. I don't want to learn more. See, they're messing with me, man. It's there last time in 50 years. Surely it's at least every year. Zorro heads. It should be. It isn't. Rand Paul, Republican Kentucky, 2 replied to Musk. See, the computer's acting funny. Give me a second here. Ran Republican Senator Kentucky 2 replied to Musk, "Nope, let's do it." Now let's see what's going to happen. Let's see what's going to happen. Let's see if they get shot at, killed, assassinated. Let's see if it goes out. Sometimes shit is in the news and you don't hear it the next day. You want to follow up. As Fort Knox uses gold reserves worth an estimated $425 billion, though the book value assessed by the government is $42.22 per ounce. That was back then, which has not been updated for long. That $42.22 price gold per ounce now $3,000. Let me go to that. Give me a second. Biblical money, ancient money. All nations understand gold and silver. That's always money. But now you got Federal Reserves. Okay. Gold prices. Look at that.
The stock price is unavailable.
I don't want the stock price. Okay. Now let's do this. Look at that. 35, almost $40. So we're almost, what is it? 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, 100. We're $60, $65 away from 3,000. Never been that high. Let me do this. I'll go to max. Okay, this is 2012. 2012 gold was 1,735, right? During the time of the pandemic, it went down, went up. We're talking average of 1,500. That's of November 2019. This is 2020. It went up. 2020, September 4th, almost $2,000. It went back down. And look at this. Okay, 2016. Okay, this is 2022. In a couple of years, it doubled. It almost just about doubled. Look at that. It says 2,900. It's actually 2,900. Let's round it off to 35. So it's like $65 from 3,000. It's never been $3,000. So these investors that invested around about here, 1,200, you more than doubled your money. If you're a multi-millionaire, billionaire, you purchase, let's say 1 million ounces of gold. You good. You good. And remember, if you go back to the 20s, gold was $20, a $20 gold certificate. Just to give you an idea, the Ford Motor Company, he came up with the concept of the assembly line, and his employees received what was called a $5 day. That's back when they didn't tax you. Whatever you made, you brought that whatever you made gross, you brought that shit home. $5 a day represented today, if you adjust to inflation, what did I do the math? Almost $800 a day. And they would work only 8 hours. They would do an 8-hour shift, and they would work 5 days a week. They'd have the weekends off. And your wives didn't have to work. So we're talking let's round it off to 800. 800 times 5 is 4,000. So your bring home was 4,000. 4 is 8. 8 and 8 is 16. It's 16,000 a month. That's why we were able to buy these houses. They were able to buy a brand new car every 2 years. Buy their wife a car. Their wife didn't have to go working. But this whole thing of women going out in the workforce is because of the dollar. The devaluing of the dollar. Take it off the gold standard. That's why you have so much adultery. That's why you have so many women that go on OnlyFans and these little X-rated sites where they on camera. There's all kind of women doing that shit. They live in double lives because of money. Because what is women finding? Women finding out if they look good, they know that sex sells. Sex always sells. The old saying, the oldest profession in the history of the world is prostitution. That's their skills, man. That's their skills. And the finer you are, the more you're worth. And these super rich, they deal with these little underage girls. The whole Epstein thing, coming out with the P. Diddy thing. Ellie Carter, look her up. This is completely wicked. And the Congress people, the Senate, congressmen, congresswomen, these people know about it, and these people are a part of it, man. This is a totally wicked and corrupt system and society, and it must be destroyed, and it will be destroyed. They passed laws to protect alphabet people. You guys that have fallen off, you are gonna take that chip. You're gonna take that chip, and you're gonna eat a missile. All you guys that be watching, talking shit, you're gonna take that chip because you don't got no backbone. And your wife, if you got a wife, she's gonna take it, your kids are gonna take the chip, and they're all gonna be destroyed. If your wife is pregnant on that day, she got the chip in her, she gonna go, and that baby that bun in the oven's gonna go too. Most High gonna cook that bun. So now let's go to, you know me, I'll go into the prophecies. James 5:1, go to ye rich men, weep and howl for your misery that shall come upon you. The rich is not talking about Jay-Z and P. Diddy. P. Diddy ain't really rich. They're a middle guy. You know what proves that he ain't rich? When they locked his ass up in Brooklyn House of Detention, he was willing to give them 50. He had there's no murders, there's no death involved. Just sex essays, man. He was willing to give them $50 million to show you that they don't need the money, because they can make the government, they can make money. They don't need your money, they can make money. Endless amounts of money. He said he's willing to give them $50 million for bail. They said nope. So that showed you what? That dude is a middle guy. He's not no super rich guy. The super rich are guys that are worth 150, 200 billion. We're talking billionaires. You got like Oprah, she's worth like 3 billion. She's a welfare case. We're talking about these elite Edomites that are worth 150, 200, 250 billion. Elon is supposed to be worth $500 billion, 500 billion. This is why Trump is kissing his ass, because he gave 250 million to his campaign. So who's the daddy? Who's the daddy? Elon Musk. And he's not even an American citizen. He hasn't born in this. He's South African. And he's German descent, if I'm not mistaken. He did that salute. He actually did the campaign speak. He actually did a Nazi salute. And Alex Jones is saying, no, he didn't do no, he did a Nazi salute. He put his hand on his heart, then he put it out there. That was a Nazi salute. The Romans did that. Ancient Romans used to do that salute. It said, go to now, ye rich men, weep and howl, which are the Edomites, for your miseries that shall come upon you. Let me look up the word rich. I'm sorry, I don't have to look up the word rich, because it's right here. What did I say? I said real money is gold and silver, right? What makes a man rich? How much gold and silver he has. Your riches are corrupted, and your garments are moth-eaten, which is corruption. And the riches that you got is corrupted, meaning you got your by ill-gotten gain. Your gold and silver, that's real money, is cankered. In other words, the gold and silver that you got it through corrupt means. And the rust of them shall be a witness against you. The receipts is coming out on you. Everything that you got, you stole. And shall eat your flesh as it were fire, which are the missiles. Ye have heaped together treasures for the last days. Behold, the hires of the laborers, the people that's working and getting less pay, and the eggs are going, everything going up. People are protesting now, man. And Israelites are too. Our day is coming. So let me do this. Let me look up the word rich or riches. Then we know gold and silver is real money. Rich. The god of the rich is Plutos.
Strong's G 4145. Plusias.
Plusias, which is Plutos, which is the brother of Zeus, also a brother to Poseidon. These are Greek gods, and he's the god of the underworld. Back then, he was called Hades. During the power of the Greeks, he was called Hades, and the Romans called him Plusius. The same god. It said wealthy, abundant in material resources, gold and silver, oil, right? Metals, metaphorically abounding, abundantly supplied, abounding, rich in Christian virtues and eternal possessions. No, it's talking about physical money, gold and silver. And when they said about Abraham being rich, he was rich in what? He was rich in gold, silver, cattle, and you need land. You have land, you're rich. Cattle, you need land to put the cattle on there. And you exchange with gold and silver. Remember, if you took, you raped a woman in Israel, Israelite man grape, he got to pay that money, 50 shekels, which I did the math on it. You better be rich. You better be rich. The average Israelite did not have no 50 shekels. So if you're going to grape some little girl, you're going to have to take her. The punishment is you're going to have to take her. You can't cut her off. And you're going to have to pay the father 50 shekels. And I did the math on it. I believe it's somewhere in about $1 million. I can do the math, but I'm not going to do it right now. Gold is $65 shy of 3,000. It's never been that price ever in the history of mankind, in the history of America. Okay, where am I? Bear with me for a minute. Let me get my bearings straight. So this is it, man. This is it. And you're going to be terrorized. Job 18:11. We hadn't pulled that out in a while. Job 18:11. Give you a couple of precepts. Terror shall make him afraid on every side, and shall drive him to his feet. His strength shall be hunger bitten, and destruction shall be ready at his side. That's the missiles. It shall devour the strength of his skin, or his identity, even the firstborn of death, which Yahweh shall devour his strength. The firstborn of death. Yahweh is the first creation of Yahweh. His confidence shall be rooted out of his tabernacle, his house, and it shall bring him to the King of Cherus, the King of Kings and the Lord of Lords. It's going to take, that's Isaiah 63. It shall dwell in his tabernacle because it is none of his, because you stole it, ill-gotten gain. Brimstone, which are the missiles, shall be scattered upon his habitation, where you live. Your headquarters is America. What is brimstone is from what? It's from the missiles. That's in Revelation chapter 9. His roots shall be dried up beneath, and when your roots are dried up, you can't grow back. You chop down the tree, you got to uproot it because it'll grow back. Esau's going to be uprooted. Then he's going to be done away with. He's going to be liquidated, exterminated. And above shall his branches be cut off. His remembrance shall perish from the earth, and he shall have no name in the street. You know, Jake says street cred. You got street cred now. You ain't gonna have no more street cred. You're gonna be done. And his remembrance shall perish from the earth, and he shall have no name in the street. Meaning, he's done. We're gonna burn you up. He shall be driven from light into darkness and chased out of the world. By what? By fire. He shall neither have son nor nephew among his people, nor any remaining in his dwelling. That's going to be the only nation that's going to be completely done away with after they serve slavery. That's why they say, well, the Edomites are done away with. Nope, they're not done away with yet. Vocab said, oh, after 70 AD, there's no mention of the Edomites. Okay, if somebody lives and you don't talk about him no more, that don't mean he disappeared. His people, they have seeds. Esau is still here. Esau is running shit. They that come after him shall be astonished at his day. They that went before were affrighted. Surely such are the dwellings of the wicked. Esau, we know we're talking about Esau. And this is the place of him that knoweth not the Most High. Esau don't know about the Most High. Esau will kill thousands of people, millions of people for riches. And then they're saying, well, you know what? Thou shalt not kill. They don't care. They don't give a damn about the 10 Commandments. They don't believe in the Most High. They believe in money and power. So they're going to get theirs, man. You got these Christians now using the Apocrypha to justify that the Edomites are done away with. They'll go to 1 Maccabees chapter 5. So I think that's what Vocab did. Well, 1 Maccabees chapter 5, and you know what we hit them back with? We hit them with, what about the Herodians? Look up the Herodians. What are they? They're Edomites. That's common knowledge. Let me give you a couple more and then I'll close. Job 21 verse 17. Let's see what that says. Job 21 verse 17. We'll read a couple of verses down. How oft is the candle of the wicked put out, and how oft cometh their destruction upon them? The Most High distribute sorrows in his anger. They are as stubble before the wind, and as chaff that the storm carrieth away. See, when you're burnt up, what's left? Stubble, ashes. The Most High layeth up his iniquity for his children. He rewardeth him, and he shall know it. His eyes shall see his destruction, and he shall drink of the wrath of the Almighty. Right, we drunk of the Most High's cup in Jeremiah 49. So the Lord was saying, well, you think you ain't going to drink of it? I made my own people that I love, the apple of my eye, drink of this cup. So, and then you're not going to drink it and you're the damn devil? Are you kidding me? Jump down to 30th verse. The wicked is reserved to the day of destruction. The day of destruction is what? The ending, which is going to close Jacob's trouble, which the missiles are going to hit this place. They shall be brought forth to the day of wrath. Let's go to Job 30 and 24. Howbeit, he will not stretch out his hand to the grave, though they cry in his destruction. Nobody's going to have pity for you. Did not I weep for him that was in trouble? Was not my soul grieve for the poor? When I looked for the good, then evil came unto me. The devil came unto me. And when I waited for light, there was darkness. We were put in darkness. We're going to go from darkness to light. And Esau's going to go from light to darkness. The candle of the wicked shall be put out. Oh, let's go to. I read that. Let's go to Esther. There's so many good scriptures here. Isaiah 14, 1 and 2. Can't get around that. Isaiah 24, the whole chapter, you can't get around that. You know what? Let's look at Job 31 and 3. Is not destruction to the wicked, and a strange punishment to the workers of iniquity. A strange punishment to the workers of iniquity. I believe this is Song of Solomon 5. Let me just check this. Oh, Wisdom of Solomon. Oh, 1 and 2. Then shall the righteous man stand in great boldness before the face of such as have afflicted him. Who afflicted us? The Edomites. And made no account of his labors. When they see it, they shall be troubled with terrible fear, and shall be amazed at the strangeness of his salvation, so far beyond all that they look to. That's the chips. We're going to be beamed up into those ships. I'll give you a couple more. Job 31 verse 3. Did I read that already? Oh yeah, I did. Let me read that again. His is not destruction to the wicked, to the Edomites, and a strange punishment to the workers of iniquity. For it is a fire that cometh to destruction, and would root out all mine increase. Whatever Esau got, he's going to lose. And the riches we're going to take. Wealth is transferred. It's what's the word? Translated from one kingdom to the next. That's also in the scriptures. Numbers 24. Balaam speaks about what's going to happen in the end. How the Israelites are going to destroy all the neighboring nations round about Israel, which are scattered throughout the world. Revelation 2 and 25, we're going to beat them over the head with rods of iron. Psalms 2 and 8. You're going to beat them over the head with a rod of iron, a scepter of iron. I wouldn't want to be an Edomite for all the tea in China. I wouldn't want to be an Edomite for all the gold in Fort Knox, which I don't even think there's any gold in there. But we're going to watch. That's the thing now. Doge is going to audit the Fort Knox. Let's see how that goes. Let's see how that goes. I'm going to leave you with this one. Job 5 and 12. Job 5. And verse 12. And I'm going to even read it in to set on high 11. To set on high those that be low, that those which mourn may be exalted to safety. That's talking about us. This is talking about Esau. He disappointeth the devices of the crafty. That's Esau, the Edomites, the elite, so that their hands cannot perform their enterprise. Our enterprise is crowned with success. Anuit coeptus, which means our enterprise is crowned with success. And what is their enterprise? A new world order, Novus Ordo Seclorum. That's why it's on your $1 bill. Enterprise. Wisdom, sound, knowledge, success, sound, or efficient, right? Doge, D-O-G-E. What is it? Department of, what the hell is it? I got to look it up again. But the E represents efficiency. Efficient wisdom, abiding, sound, or efficient wisdom, abiding success of the effect to sound wisdom. Let me look up the word crafty. The wisdom of Teman is going to go away. They're not going to have answers. Teman, which are the Germans, are the wise one. You wouldn't have no Apollo flight and the Russians, the cosmonauts and the astronauts. They wouldn't be going up into outer space. They wouldn't have satellites. It was the Germans. The Germans were the smart ones. They're going to lose their intelligence. Crafty, right? The word here is irawum, which means subtle, shrewd, crafty, sly, a sensible, crafty, shrewd, sensible, prudent. So they rip you off. And this is what Trump did. He said all the things he's gonna do nice for the country. He's gonna make everything. As soon as he took that, he swore in. He didn't even put his hand on the Bible. I believe he's the only president that didn't put his hand on the Bible. He started writing them executive orders, and everybody's feeling it right now. Now they're cleaning out D.C. They're cleaning out the government because I believe that they're going to replace everything with AI. Everything in there is going to be, they don't need people no more, so we don't got to pay them. We're going to put AI in there, but let's see what happens. But the main thing we got to see is this Doge auditing the, Fort Knox. Let's see what that, like I said, ain't no president in 50 plus years, not one president, Nixon didn't mention it, Kennedy didn't mention it, L.B. Johnson, whatever his name is, didn't mention it. Bush, Daddy Bush, Baby Bush, none of them mentioned it. None of them mentioned Fort Knox. Here you got Trump in his second term. They're talking about ordering Fort Knox. And who owns Fort Knox? Fort Knox in the news. Musk signals Doge could look into gold at Fort Knox. Because nobody ever talks about it. They don't even mention, like I said, not one president in 50 plus years have even mentioned Fort Knox. These younger generations, you say Fort, what's Fort Knox? What's that all about? Was that a video game? Let me see. It says Elon Musk Doge prepares to audit U.S. gold reserves at Fort Knox after urging. Let me open this up. So we're going to see how this plays out. Elon Musk Doge prepared to audit U.S. gold reserves at Fort Knox after urging of Senator Rand Paul, which is Ron Paul's son. Now, he got beat up a couple years ago from somebody, but I believe, there's a backstory to that. Okay, Tech Billionaire. Okay, here it is right here. This is Fox. That's Rand Paul, by the way. And this is supposed to be a picture of the gold stored in Fort Knox.
M&A integration is complex.
I mean, you can watch this. Tech Billionaire Elon Musk has his sights set on the audit of the U.S. Gold Reserve in Fort Knox through that's in Kentucky, by the way, through the Department of Government Efficiency. After it was revealed there is no yearly review for the world-renowned stash. Well, they said the last time they did a review or audit was in 1974, and there were a couple of senators, I forget their names, and they pulled out a couple of gold bars. I think one gold bar. He says, "Here it is." Oh, okay, yeah, the gold is in there. You got stacks of gold. Right, welcome to Fort Knox. Okay, May 31. Abrams tanks sit on a pedestal above. Right, because in order to protect riches, you need a military. Signage to Fort Knox at U.S. military installation on May 31, 2021 in Fort Knox, Kentucky. Fort Knox spans over 100,000 acres across Herdin, Meade, and Bullitt counties, Fort Knox. So we're going to find out, man. I'll give you some more information that I read about earlier. Critics have called for greater transparency regarding the stash after it was revealed the top secret location was not subject to a yearly audit. So is there really gold in there? We'll find out. And I hope they do it today. Bitcoin is digital representative of gold. Anyway, with that, I'm going to say shalom. On to the next shalom.